She thought she was just helping a wounded man. She had no idea what or who was hidden under those blankets. What she discovered changed everything and put her family in the crosshairs. Thank you so much for watching and for all your comments. Let me know at the end if you liked the story, and where you're watching from and why you're following this. Montana Territory, 1878. The unforgiving winter winds howled across the vast plains as Emma Sullivan peered through frost-covered windows of her modest cabin. 3 months a widow with 2 children to feed, she'd learned to dread the sound of approaching horses. Usually meant trouble tax collectors, outlaws, or worse. "Mama, someone's coming," 8-year-old James called, his breath fogging the glass. Emma reached for her husband's rifle, loaded but hidden from little Sarah, who played with cornhusk dolls by the fire. "Stay inside," she instructed, wrapping a shawl around her shoulders. The stranger dismounted awkwardly, favoring his left side. Blood stained his coat, not unusual in these parts, but concerning nonetheless. His horse appeared near collapse, steam rising from its heaving flanks. "Ma'am," he touched his hat weakly, "name's Thomas Reed. Got shot up by some fellas north of here. Don't mean no trouble. Just need shelter till morning." Emma kept the rifle steady. "How do I know you're not one of Grayson's men?" "Don't know no Grayson," he winced, clutching his side. "Was transporting orphans from Billings when we got ambushed. I'm just the driver." "Orphans?" Emma's grip loosened slightly. Reed nodded grimly. 5 of 'em in my wagon, hidden under blankets. Told them to stay quiet no matter what." "Where's this wagon?" "About 2 miles back. Horse couldn't pull no more with me bleeding like this." Emma hesitated, thoughts racing. Orphans out in this cold wouldn't survive the night. "James, fetch Dr. Miller from town. Tell him it's urgent." The wounded man swayed. "Ma'am, them children. They're still alive. I covered 'em best I could." Emma helped Reed inside, settling him by the fire. "Sarah, get fresh water and bandages." The little girl scurried away, eager to help. "Who shot you, Mr. Reed?" Emma asked, cutting away his bloodied shirt. "Don't rightly know. 6 men, well armed. Seemed they knew exactly what wagon to hit." He grimaced as Emma cleaned his wound. "They were taking shots at the wagon, not just me. Like they wanted them kids dead." "Why would anyone?" Emma started. "Them's not just any orphans," Reed interrupted, voice dropping. "One's the daughter of Senator Wallace, being sent to relatives after her parents' murder." Emma's hand stilled. Senator Wallace had been an outspoken opponent of the railroad barons expanding through Montana. His murder last month had been front-page news. "Those men will come looking," Emma said. Reed nodded. "That's why I need to get back to them children. They're hidden." But this cold ... double quotes a decision formed in Emma's mind. "Rest. When James returns with the doctor, we'll take my wagon to find them." Hours later, lantern light bobbing in the darkness, Emma drove her wagon through knee-deep snow. Following Reed's directions, Dr. Miller rode alongside, skeptical but committed. "There," Reed pointed weakly from where he lay in the wagon bed. "Behind those trees." Emma approached cautiously, rifle ready. The abandoned wagon sat tilted in a drift, eerily silent. "Hello?" she called softly. "Anyone there?" No response. Heart pounding, Emma climbed inside. 5 small bundles lay motionless under frost-covered blankets. She touched one gently, afraid of what she'd find. "They're still alive," she whispered in disbelief, feeling slight movement. Dr. Miller pulled back the blanket and went pale. 5 children, eldest no more than 12, huddled together in a desperate attempt to share warmth. Their faces were blue-tinged, fingers and toes dangerously white with frostbite. "We need to warm them gradually," Miller instructed, checking pulses. "Too much heat too fast could kill them." Emma wrapped the smallest, a girl about Sarah's age, in her own cloak. "What kind of monsters shoot at children?" "The kind that'll be coming for them still," Reed reminded her from the wagon. "And now they'll be coming for you too." Dawn broke over Emma's homestead, pale light revealing fresh snow and the remnants of the night's desperate journey. All 5 children now lay in makeshift beds throughout the cabin. "Doctor." Miller moving between them with practiced efficiency. "The young ones will recover fully," he said, voice low as not to wake them. "The oldest boy may lose some fingers." Emma nodded solemnly, stoking the fire. She'd been up all night, watching for signs of pursuers and tending to her unexpected guests. "When will they wake?" "Soon. They're exhausted but resilient." Miller wiped his spectacles. "Emma, you understand what you've done? These children are being hunted." "I know." She poured coffee into chipped cups. "But what choice did I have?" Before Miller could answer, a soft voice called from the corner. "Miss, where are we?" The eldest orphan, a girl of about 12 with striking blue eyes, had propped herself up, watching them warily. Emma approached slowly. "You're safe. I'm Emma Sullivan. This is Dr. Miller. We found you in the wagon. Mr. Reed?" "Resting. His wound isn't fatal." The girl seemed to weigh Emma's words carefully. "I'm Charlotte. Charlotte Wallace." Emma exchanged glances with Miller. "Senator Wallace's daughter?" Charlotte nodded, chin tilting upward with inherited dignity. "Those men killed our escort in Billings. Said they'd finish what they started with my father." "Do you know who they are?" One called another Whitaker. They wore red bandanas. Miller inhaled sharply. "The Red Valley Gang. They do railroad companies' dirty work." "My father opposed the northern expansion," Charlotte explained. "Said it would destroy tribal lands and honest ranchers." Emma thought of her late husband, who died defending their claim against railroad surveyors. "That's why they want you gone. You're the heir to his estate and political connections." Charlotte's young face hardened. "And I remember their faces. Every one." Throughout the day, the other children awakened two brothers, Michael and Thomas Harper, whose parents had died in a mining accident, Ruth Johnson, whose mother had been the Wallace's housekeeper, and little Eliza Moore, orphaned by smallpox. They formed an unlikely family, bound by tragedy and circumstance. Reed, propped up in Emma's bed, spoke privately with her that afternoon. "Marshall in Billings knows I was transporting them. He'll send men when I don't arrive in Helena." "How long?" 3 days, maybe 4 with this weather." Emma gazed out the window at the vast emptiness surrounding her homestead. "We might not have that long." That evening, as Emma prepared a simple stew, James burst through the door, panting. "Riders coming, Ma. 6 of them." Emma's heart plummeted. Everyone away from the windows. "James, get the children into the root cellar. Dr. Miller, help Mr. Reed." Charlotte refused to move. "I won't hide while you face them." "This isn't your fight," Emma said firmly. "It became yours when you saved us," Charlotte replied, loading Emma's second rifle with surprising competence. "My father taught me to shoot." Emma wanted to argue but recognized the determined set of the girl's jaw, the same expression she saw in her mirror each morning. Stay low and behind something solid. The riders approached slowly, spreading out to surround the cabin. Their leader, a hawk-faced man with a thick mustache, called out, "We know you're in there, Sullivan. Send out the Wallace girl, and we'll leave the rest be." "How do they know my name?" Emma whispered. Reed grimaced from where he sat, propped against the wall, shotgun across his lap. "Someone in town must have recognized me, sent word." The leader grew impatient. "You've got 1 minute before we burn you out." Emma stepped onto her porch, rifle raised. "This is private property." "I've sent for the marshal," the leader laughed. "Marshall's 3 days away, woman. We'll be long gone." "What do you want with children?" Emma demanded. "That's not your concern. Railroad company has interests that need protecting. By murdering children?" His eyes narrowed. "Last chance, the Wallace girl, now." Emma's finger tensed on the trigger. "You'll have to kill me first." "That can be arranged," he snarled, raising his hand to signal his men. Before he could complete the gesture, a shot rang out, not from Emma's rifle, but from inside the cabin. The leader's hat flew off, a bullet hole clean through its crown. Charlotte's voice called out clearly, "The next one goes between your eyes, Whitaker, just like you did to my father." Whitaker's face drained of color at the mention of his name. His men exchanged nervous glances. "You're outgunned," Emma bluffed. My ranch hands are positioned in the trees behind you. There were no ranch hands, just Dr. Miller and a wounded Reed. But the approaching darkness and surrounding woods made her claim plausible enough to create doubt. We'll be back, Whitaker promised, slowly backing his horse away, with more men. And we'll be waiting, Emma replied steadily, not lowering her rifle until the riders disappeared into the gathering dusk. Inside, Charlotte stood trembling, the rifle still raised. Emma gently took it from her hands. That was brave, she said. And foolish. Charlotte's composure finally broke, tears streaming down her face. They killed everyone. My mother, father, our servants, said it was a robbery gone wrong. Emma pulled her close. I know about lost child, but you're not alone anymore. That night, as the children finally slept, Emma and Reed made plans by lamplight. They'll return by morning, he warned. Whitaker can't let Charlotte live to testify. Emma traced a map with her finger. There's an old mining tunnel that runs under the north pasture. My husband used it during the territorial disputes. It comes out 3 miles away, near Canyon Creek. Can you get the children through it? Yes, but someone needs to stay behind and make them think we're all still here. Reed met her eyes. I can barely walk. I'll stay. Emma shook her head. This is my home. My fight now, too. Ma? James stood in the doorway, little Sarah beside him. We want to help. Emma looked at her children, too young for such burdens, yet already carrying them. I need you to be brave a little longer, she told them. Tomorrow will test us all. First light had barely touched the eastern sky when Emma began preparations. The mining tunnel hadn't been used in years, but she remembered her husband's instructions clearly. If trouble ever comes that you can't face head-on, this is your way out. She'd hoped never to need it. Take only what you can carry, she instructed the children as they packed small bundles. Food, warm clothes, nothing else. Charlotte helped the younger ones, her manner calm despite the dark circles beneath her eyes. She hadn't slept much. Emma had heard her pacing during the night. What about you? Charlotte asked quietly, watching Emma load extra ammunition into her husband's gun belt. I'll follow once you're safely through, Emma replied, not meeting her eyes. You're lying, Charlotte said flatly. You're staying to make them think we're all here. Emma paused, studying the young girl's face. You're too perceptive for your age. My father said the same thing, Charlotte's voice caught. Before they shot him at our dinner table. Emma placed her hands on Charlotte's shoulders. Sometimes one person has to stand ground so others can escape. Your father understood that, and died for it. He died protecting what mattered. Now I need you to help Dr. Miller get these children to safety. Charlotte's chin trembled, but she nodded resolutely. The marshal will come. We just need to hold out until then. Exactly, Emma said, though she wasn't nearly as confident as she pretended. Whitaker wouldn't make the same mistake twice. He'd bring enough men to overwhelm any resistance. Dr. Miller approached, medical bag in hand. The tunnel entrance is clear. We should move now while we have cover of dawn mist. Emma gathered everyone in the main room for final instructions. Reed sat propped in a chair, loaded shotgun across his lap despite his ashen complexion. James, you know the way to Sheriff Patterson's ranch from Canyon Creek? Emma asked her son. He nodded solemnly. Yes, May. 5 miles southeast. Follow the creek, then cut across Willow Ridge. Good boy. Tell him everything that's happened. He'll get word to the federal marshal. She hugged him fiercely, then bent to embrace Sarah. Mind your brother, little one. Sarah clung to her neck. Why can't you come now? Someone has to make sure those bad men don't follow you. Emma forced brightness into her voice. I'll be right behind you, promise. The lie tasted bitter, but necessary. She kissed Sarah's forehead, then stood to address them all. Move quickly but quietly. No talking until you're well clear of the tunnel. She handed Dr. Miller her husband's compass. Canyon Creek will be frozen enough to walk on. It'll hide your tracks. Miller hesitated. Emma, I could stay instead. You're needed with the children. Reed's in no condition to travel, and I know this land. Her tone brooked no argument. Now go, before full daylight. One by one, they disappeared through the root cellar door that concealed the tunnel entrance. First Miller, then the Harper brothers, little Eliza holding Ruth's hand, James guiding Sarah, and finally Charlotte, who turned back. "I'll come back with help," she promised. Emma smiled sadly. "I know you will." Once they were gone, Emma and Reed set about creating the illusion of a full household. They moved around busily, casting multiple shadows against the curtains. Emma hung children's clothing on the line outside, visible proof of their presence. "How long do you think before they come?" Reed asked, checking his shotgun for the dozenth time. Emma studied the horizon. "They'll wait for full light. Another hour, maybe two." They ate a silent breakfast, both knowing it might be their last. Emma found herself memorizing ordinary details. The way sunlight fell across her wooden table, the smell of coffee, the familiar creak of the floorboard near the stove. "I never thanked you properly," Reed said suddenly. "Not many would have done what you did. Anyone would help children in need." Reed shook his head. "Not risking their own family. You're a rare person, Mrs. Sullivan." Before Emma could respond, she spotted movement on the horizon riders approaching, more than before. She counted 12 men, heavily armed. She moved to the window, calculating. "They'll surround us again. Probably try to draw us out." Reed positioned himself by the east window, shotgun ready. "How long do the children need?" "At least 3 hours to reach Patterson's, then another 4 for help to arrive." Emma checked her rifle's action. "We just need to make them believe everyone's still here. And stay alive in the process," Reed added grimly. The riders stopped just beyond rifle range. Whitaker's voice carried across the distance. "Sullivan, your situation has changed. We're taking the Wallace girl today." Emma shouted back, "Children are off limits, Whitaker. Even for railroad trash like you. Railroad trash that owns the judge, the territorial governor, and most of the land you're squatting on." He laughed harshly. "Last chance to walk away from this." "Not happening." Whitaker signaled his men, who began spreading out. 2 carried what looked like oil cans. They intended to burn them out. "If they fire the cabin, we'll have to make a run for it," Emma said, calculating their limited options. Reed nodded grimly. "I'll cover you from here as long as possible." "No," Emma shook her head. "Together or not at all." The first shots came suddenly, splintering the window frame inches from Emma's head. She returned fire carefully, conserving ammunition. Reed's shotgun boomed beside her, forcing several attackers to scramble for better cover. For 20 minutes, they maintained the illusion of a heavily defended position, firing from different windows, moving constantly. But their ammunition was limited, and Whitaker's men were gradually closing in. "Emma," Reed called urgently, "they're moving toward the barn." She saw 2-3 men darting toward the structure that stood between the cabin and the hidden tunnel entrance. If they positioned themselves there, they might spot any movement from the root cellar. "Cover me," she said, grabbing her husband's old cavalry pistol. Before Reed could protest, Emma slipped out the back door, keeping low along the woodpile. The freezing air burned her lungs as she sprinted toward the barn's side entrance, staying in the building's shadow. Inside, she pressed against the wall, listening. Footsteps crunched in the snow outside, then voices. "Check the hayloft. I'll take this side." Emma waited, heart pounding, as a man entered. She recognized him, one of the riders who'd ambushed Reed's wagon. He moved cautiously, rifle raised. When he passed her position, Emma stepped out, pistol aimed at his back. "Drop it." He froze, then slowly lowered his weapon. "Kick it away," she ordered. He complied, then turned with a sneer. "You're dead anyway, woman. Whitaker won't stop." "Why? What's one girl worth all this bloodshed?" The man spat. "Ask the railroad company. I just follow orders." A shot from outside interrupted them. Someone had spotted Emma. The distraction was enough for the man to lunge at her. They struggled, crashing into stacked hay bales. Emma's pistol discharged in the scuffle, the bullet striking an oil lamp hanging nearby. Glass shattered, kerosene sprayed, and flames erupted instantly. Dry hay caught fire with explosive speed. Emma kicked free of her attacker and ran for the door as fire engulfed the barn's interior. Outside, smoke billowed skyward, a signal visible for miles. Emma realized with horror that the fire might draw attention to the escaping children if spotted by scouts. She had to create a diversion. Flames devoured the barn with frightening speed, black smoke billowing skyward. Emma sprinted back toward the cabin, bullets kicking up snow around her feet. She burst through the door, breathless. "They'll see the smoke for miles," she gasped to Reed. "We need to draw them away from the tunnel direction." Reed nodded grimly, understanding immediately. "The horses in the corral. If we set them loose toward the south ridge, ... Exactly. They'll think we're making a run for it." Emma grabbed ammunition from the mantel. "I'll go. You keep shooting from different windows." "Emma," Reed began. No time to argue. She checked her rifle. "When I release the horses, give me covering fire. Make it count." Outside, chaos had erupted. Some of Whitaker's men fought the barn fire, fearing it would spread to the cabin where they believed Charlotte was hiding. Others maintained their positions, exchanging sporadic shots with Reed. Emma crept along the north side of the cabin, using smoke as cover. The corral held 4 horses, already nervous from the gunfire and smoke. She reached the gate, working quickly to remove their halters. Come on," she whispered, slapping the lead mare's flank. The horse bolted, others following instinctively. From the cabin, Reed's shotgun roared repeatedly. Windows shattered as he fired in multiple directions, creating the impression of several defenders. Emma heard Whitaker shouting, "The horses! They're making a break for it." Just as she'd hoped, several riders abandoned their positions, racing to intercept the fleeing horses. Emma used the distraction to circle back, entering the cabin through the root cellar. "It worked," she told Reed, finding him reloading with bloodied hands. A bullet had grazed his arm. "They've split their forces." "Not for long," he warned. "Once they realize the horses are empty... The cutes." Emma nodded, peering through a crack in the shutters. "The children need more time." Outside, Whitaker had regrouped his men, fury evident in his gestures. The barn was now fully engulfed, ammunition stored inside occasionally discharging with sharp pops. "Sullivan," Whitaker bellowed, "your position is hopeless. Send out the Wallace girl." Emma remained silent, conserving her advantage. Let him wonder how many defenders remained, how well armed they were. But Whitaker had lost patience. He signaled to his men, who produced the kerosene can she'd spotted earlier. "Burn it," he ordered. "All of it." Emma exchanged glances with Reed. Their strategy had bought time, but now faced a deadly choice. "The tunnel," she said quietly. "We can still make it." Reed shook his head. "I'd slow you down, and they'd follow our tracks." "I won't leave you. You must." His eyes held hers steadily. "Those children need someone waiting at the other end. What if Miller runs into trouble?" Before Emma could respond, the first flaming arrow struck the cabin roof. More followed, thudding into wooden walls. Within moments, smoke began seeping through the ceiling boards. "Go," Reed urged, positioning himself by the window. "I'll convince them we're all still inside. When the roof collapses, they'll think they've won." Emma fought back tears. This man she barely knew was offering his life for her children, for all their children. Thomas ... "My wife and daughter died of fever 3 years ago," he said quietly. "Been half alive since then. Today, I finally did something that mattered." He smiled faintly. "Now go. Honor that by living." Emma gathered her remaining ammunition and a canteen. "The marshal will come for them," she promised. "They'll pay for this." "I know." Reed's eyes had found peace. "Godspeed, Emma Sullivan." Smoke thickened as Emma descended into the root cellar. She pulled the concealed door closed behind her, then lit a small lantern. The tunnel stretched ahead, rough-hewn from the mountainside by her husband's determination. Tears streaked her soot-covered face as she heard the battle resume above Reed, firing strategically, making each shot suggest different defenders. The tunnel was cold, forcing Emma to move quickly both for warmth and to catch the others. Occasional supports creaked ominously overhead. After nearly an hour of steady progress, she detected fresher air. The exit was near. Caution made her extinguish her lantern before approaching the tunnel's end. Daylight filtered through the brush-covered opening. Emma listened carefully before emerging, rifle ready. The landscape spread before her vast, snow-covered and empty. No sign of the children or Miller. Had they continued to Patterson's as instructed, or sought immediate shelter from the cold? A faint trail in the snow suggested they'd followed the creek as planned. Emma set out after them, senses alert for pursuit. The distant column of black smoke rising from her homestead stabbed at her heart, but she pushed forward. 2 miles along Canyon Creek, Emma spotted them huddled figures moving slowly through the snow. She called out softly, not wanting to startle them. Charlotte turned first, then broke into a run. "Emma, you made it!" The girl embraced her fiercely. "We heard gunfire, then saw the smoke. Mr. Reed?" James asked, searching behind Emma. She shook her head slightly, unable to speak the truth aloud. Her son's face fell, understanding beyond his years. Dr. Miller approached, carrying exhausted little Eliza. "The others?" "Gone," Emma said simply. "Whitaker burned the cabin." Miller's expression darkened. "Those men have no souls." "But they have names," Charlotte interjected firmly. "And connections. My father kept records evidence of the railroad's illegal activities. That's what they really want destroyed." Emma studied her with newfound respect. "Where are these records?" "Hidden at my aunt's house in Helena, in a compartment beneath the library floorboards." Charlotte's eyes flashed with her father's determination. Enough evidence to bring down Whitaker and his employers. For the first time, Emma felt a flicker of hope. Then we get to Helena, not just for safety but for justice. They continued through the afternoon, making slow progress toward Patterson's ranch. The younger children were struggling, so they stopped frequently to rest. During one such break, Charlotte approached Emma privately. "I heard what you said to Mr. Reed before we left," she said quietly. "Sometimes one person has to stand ground so others can escape." Emma nodded, throat tight. "My father believed that too." Charlotte stood straighter. "I want you to know I understand what you sacrificed today. Your home, perhaps your husband's grave. Everything you had." "Not everything," Emma replied, watching James help little Sarah across a fallen log. "What matters most is still here." Charlotte followed her gaze. "You're going to adopt them all, aren't you? U.S. orphans." Emma hadn't fully formulated the thought until that moment, but she realized Charlotte was right. Would that be so terrible? "No," Charlotte smiled faintly. "I think it would be exactly what we all need." As dusk approached, they finally spotted Patterson's ranch in the distance. Emma gathered the tired children one last time before approaching. "Whatever happens next, remember this," she told them. "Today you showed courage beyond your years. You survived because you helped each other. That makes you family now, not by blood, but by choice. And family stands together, always." James took her hand on one side, Charlotte on the other. The rest formed a circle, connected despite their different pasts. "Those men took our homes," Emma continued, "but they didn't take our strength, or our future. Or our justice," Charlotte added firmly. Emma nodded. "Or our justice." Together, they walked toward the ranch house where lamplight promised warmth and safety. Behind them, smoke still rose from the distant horizon, marking not an end, but a beginning.